Hey Grace fans, how's it going? It's Ivy. Wishing you lots of love and light on this Wednesday. So I'm just talking to you here from my home in Antibes in the south of France. And so this week, well, we will still be talking about food, kind of a little bit where, you know, I got myself into teaching cooking classes. But really, the topic of today's little talk with you guys is how to reinvent yourself in today's economy. So, let's see. So, 2011, is this possible? 11 years ago, I was the featured speaker at my graduation at the Cordon Bleu, and that was 2009. So it's just right after the economic crisis, after the the housing, the mortgage bubble burst. And I was really, I was talking out to a crowd of 2,000 graduates who were graduating into a job market that was, that was totally shattered. I mean, much like right now. And at the time, well, this is a little bit before I was still working at ABC News, and I had started these cooking classes. So you can see this is a really old. Look at this. This is an old. Article of me in the Pasadena Weekly, and it's just I just want to show you that right now, while it's it's difficult, things change, things move, but just know that it is a time, really, I think, for really just for growing, for finding a new opportunity, maybe doing something you've always thought about doing but didn't have the courage to do. So I think it's going to take a bit of entrepreneurial spirit on the part of everyone. Okay, and so now you're thinking you need some extra dough, you need some extra cash. What do I do? Okay, so one, you're like, okay, I need money. Like, it takes money to make money. Okay. And so that's the myth number one that I really want to bust, because when I did these, when I did that, I didn't have any startup money. This is my cooking classes called Dragon Dinners. Okay. So what I did was I went over to the Pacific Asian Museum that was in Pasadena, California. I think this is 2008, I think, at this time. And I asked them if I could use their kitchen. I mean, it wasn't the best kitchen, but it was a kitchen. It was free. And I said that would help them promote their museum and programs, and that would give them something to do. And then I went to the Pasadena Weekly, which is where I was featured, and I asked if I could write an article about Chinese food and how it was a really great, tasty, inexpensive way to cook, budget meals at home and tasty meals. Little did I know that was a very little inkling of of going into vegan food, right? Plant-based meals. But instead the editor, he decided to interview me instead. So it was like my face was plastered all over Pasadena for for a week or so, but free advertising, right? And I can't even remember how else I was getting people to sign up, but rule of thumb, and all entrepreneurs out there should know this, is that you always ask for money up front, because people cancel. I mean, there's one time when it was one of my regular customers, and friends of mine, they're just like, okay, Ivy, we'll pay you the day of. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, And then they called last minute. They're like, we have to cancel. And then they're like, oh, okay, we'll just pay you, like, the class was $50, and they're like, we'll just pay you 35 because, you know, the cost of the food. And I was like, well, you're holding a space for other people, right? And, you know, not acceptable. So just make sure you guys do that. There's a woman that I know, Sophia Pagan. She does something called Picture Perfect Paris. A girl from New York, and check her out. She does portraits for you, like, you know, all over, all over Paris. But she asks for 100% upfront, and then gives you a time, you know, to cancel. Or I think it may even be non-refundable, but it just, you know, it just kind of takes like, yeah, you gotta have that contract, you know. It just saves you a lot of time. And even with me, when I was a private chef and working for people who, who, you know, just like the 1% basically, right? But a lot of times, because it's kind of referred to someone that you know, and then someone you know, and it's a very intimate process, there's not as much of the time of like, okay, here's my list of conditions, this is like how it works. But it's really important, especially as a freelancer. There's been times in the past I've asked for 50% upfront, and people get really angry, you know? But all the times that I haven't been paid, I mean, I don't even want to go into those things, but I think it was actually one for quite a large corporation. I won't go into who it is, but it's sort of like Cuisinart. It's not, but it's like one of those really big like manufacturers. And I don't know, like somebody had stole money from their company, or, I mean, I don't know, that's not really an excuse, but I didn't get my money for like 6 months, you know? So yes, that's, you know, I mean, of course I'm doing the exact opposite with my restaurant, which I've put in like tens and thousands of dollars, like, and then waiting for the return. That's more of a passion project. But if you're making money, like, you never want to spend your own money, you want to spend, you know, other people's money, customers' money, right? So so for these cooking classes, I made sure to get money up front. Okay, so you've like reserved the class, and you take that money to go and then buy all of your materials. Then you know that you're able to you're able to spend it, and that it's going to be profitable. So I mean, even from like from the really early stages, the way I had always run my businesses is I never ran in the red. I was always running the black. So no matter what, there's always some type of profit. And so, I mean, it just depends. I mean, you could have a cushion if you have a certain amount of money you're willing to lose, you know? But there is a term, sort of in the tech startup world, that's called the lean startup model. And this can apply to every company, not just tech companies, but what they have you create is something called a MVP, or a minimum viable product. And that just basically means, before diving in like all your time, all your money, all your resources, and like, you know, opening something and then like nobody comes to buy, is that you first test your assumptions. So you basically just think like, okay, whatever. Here, I'll just give you an example. So I bought this from Beach Rider in Antibes. Go check them out. They're friends of mine. But yeah, like, you're just like, oh, everyone's gonna love these hats, and they're just gonna buy them. So let's like order them. Let's you know, yeah, it's just like whatever. It's summery. It's light, you know. And then literally like no one buys it. I mean, you don't know, right? So the first thing is like you gotta, I don't know, make a prototype, or, you know, even a picture. So the lean startup model, you know, you make like a landing page, which costs you like almost nothing, and then you actually make like a fake page where people are gonna like buy it, and then it, you know, at the end it like, so there's some kind of error and you're not able to buy it, but then you can actually test like if people click and people want to buy it. Or even like a low tech method is just to be like seeing who, you know, who is interested in it, you know. And a lot of times it's like people say they're going to do things, but they don't really do that. So you need to really look at people's behaviors, and not necessarily, you know, what they're saying. So past behavior is the best predictor or indicator of future behavior. So more on that if you guys want to ask me about that and how that all works. I can tell you, but yeah, just remember to like, you have to be really mindful of your resources, and to go on actual real data, not just assumptions. Okay, so yeah, and then just it doesn't take money to like make money, right? So what I would do a lot of times in my shop at Gray's before plowing in, because it costs money to keep stuff like in there. Like if I'm like, oh, what's the next big craze? I'm like, I don't know, adaptogenics or like protein powder, and then I just buy a whole bunch of it and it just sits there not being sold, which I think happened to me once. I can't remember, or maybe I didn't do that. But no, I don't think I've ever done that. You see what I do is I take something like kombucha. Like I love kombucha, okay? And then I think I had some other products. I can't remember what they were, but people kept asking about that. It was like my empty bottle of kombucha. It was, I can't remember the name of it. It's like my favorite brand of kombucha. And it's like slipping my mind now. I'll remember later. But yeah, I mean, they were really into that, So I started I started finding kombucha. I just was not happy with any of the brands that were out there. So then I just made my own kombucha, right? Which took a lot of time, not as much money. And then now we're bottling it and selling it. I mean, it's a bit, yeah, like I said, another one of a passion project, but you just see what people respond to. And they also really responded to doTERRA supplements, and some other things I thought they would be into, that they weren't. Like, I can't remember what, I think donuts. Yeah, I thought donuts were going to be the thing, like gourmet, like healthy donuts, but I think people look at them and they just think they're fattening. I mean, I don't know, but, definitely, you really want to like make sure your idea is going to work before you like launch right into it, right? And then don't spend money. Think of a way to not spend money. I don't know. For my cooking classes, like I didn't even buy equipment, right? You need to think about that. So rentals, equipment. I just borrowed a cutting board from like 5 of my friends. I was like driving around my car doing that. I like asked one of my culinary school professors to like borrow knives. I don't even know what I did with aprons. I think I had people bring their own, or at one point I invested in aprons. So yeah, and things like churches and schools, I found out they have very low cost kitchens, like $30 or something like that, even for you to hold your meetings and things like that. A lot of 12-step programs use churches and sometimes schools because the rent is really cheap. So that is something to consider. I did it at one of my friends' gelato shops. That was another thing. They bought ice cream. That was like part of their deal. So yeah, get creative, okay? So myth number 1, takes money to make money, okay? No, just get creative, okay? And the second thing is like, oh, it's so hard to start a business. Yeah, everything that's worth it takes effort, guys. I mean, but don't you think it's also been hard to go and apply for these jobs, maybe pivot, like learn these new skills, do your resume, get dressed, like, and this could just be like hours, and some people it's like years, before they're getting a job, and with what? Like, what do you get from it? What is the fruit of that labor? So, like, yeah, it takes effort, but maybe not that much effort. Like, it doesn't have to be a big, like, you just do side hustle. It doesn't have to be like a big ol', like, it doesn't have to be like a big old deal. Like all you have to do is just remember, like, the basics of business is to buy low and sell high, okay? So say you just, like, for example, you just get like a 6-pack of water, like those little baby waters, and it costs you, say, $3, like 50 cents each, right? And then you just like go to the beach and you sell each one for $2. Okay, so 2 times 6 is 12. Original costs you $3, and you make $9, which is insane. That's like triple your return. But I mean, so it's just really like as simple as that. And even things like, this is in one of not George, sorry. I'm thinking of George Kiriyama, who's, if I don't know if you guys know him out there, he was a reporter, but no, it's not that one. It's Robert Kiyosaki. And in one of his books, he talks about, well, rich dad, poor dad. Okay. So basically his poor dad was his dad who was very, he had like a high degree and a really great job, but was always just like changing his job. But his rich dad was his friend's dad who basically like invested and made money and just taught him about business and entrepreneurship. But he said in the beginning, like, there was all these books that from the library that they like were gonna throw away, or like, I don't know, the covers were ripped off. Okay, so if the covers ripped off, you can't sell them, so you can't make money. So he had the great idea of actually having kids in the neighborhood pay money to read them. So he would just like rent the time out. I think it was like 10 cents. I don't know, say it's like $1, right? Say it's $1. 10 kids come in. He only allowed like a certain amount of people to come in at a time. I mean, that's like a lot of money. Like, for like what? So especially in these times, I think think of something that you excel at and that you could help people with, and I mean, just like things like right now, I think something like selling alcohol would be great, or like desserts, right? Or CBD goodies, like if people, or actually you could do pot goodies, like if you're out in the States and stuff is legal, deliver them to their door. And Instacart, which is in the States, people, they're making thousands of dollars, like on that, so that is another option. One of the people we've been buying food from, getting deliveries, is someone who does deliveries to restaurants, and he just pivoted and does them to individuals, right? And takes cash. So, you just get creative. And the third myth is that you always have to do what you've always done, okay? So, like, I don't know, let's say you've always been an accountant, or always been a teacher, like, you can pivot, So my background, I've always been a journalist, and then I became a private chef, right? But there's other things that I've done as well, like salesperson, real estate agent, like PR expert, public relations, communications expert. But what I really saw in all of those things, and what I'm really good at actually, is, connecting with people, communicating with people, and then as well as, sort of like the rebranding of things, I mean, these are just labels and job titles, like if you can do the position, like you can do it, like daring to do it, it's kind of like that pretty girl that, nobody wants to go and like go up to her and talk to her, and she goes home alone on a Friday night and just like, I don't know, watching TV or something, but you gotta just step up, because there's the other people who are not who don't have the courage to go out and ask, right? When I was in my yachting career, and there were a few yacht chefs I knew who were amazing, or not even yacht chefs, but people just wanted to be one, okay? And it's funny, those are one of those industries that you can get in with like absolutely no experience. It's kind of like who you know. But one of my friends, he was a very like broad-shouldered, strapping man, who had been in hospitality for over 20 years, like absolutely amazing. He wanted to be to work in service on a yacht. And so these people that do that, they're called stewardesses, right? Stewardesses, but it's very like gender specific, okay? So that's just how it works. I mean, it's a bit better maybe for the chef side, but basically deckhands are male, stewardesses are female, chefs most of the time are male. That was also hard for me during my career as a chef. That's like something for another day. But So yeah. So that's how it was. And I was like, okay, well, it's your first job. You're competing against 50,000 other petite blonde girls. And of course, he's way more qualified. But I actually played on those so-called stereotypes, and I rebranded him, and I called him a chef. And he's like, "What the hell? I've never been a professional chef." But like, he loves to cook. He loves to entertain. I could see how he can make food, present well. And actually, kind of home cooking and professional cooking are almost like really different. Professional cooking is all about like timing and your organization. Sort of key skills. So, he listened to my advice, and I introduced him to some people, and he went on to like make even more money than I did and be more successful. So that's another thing. And another woman who was a yacht stewardess, like her first season, she really wanted to be a yacht chef, and she had also no experience, right? But there was an opening on her boat, and I just told her, like, just ask, ask, like, hey, can I try out for this position? If you don't like it, that's okay. I'll just go on being stewardess, But she did it, and now she has that job, and it's good things only come to those who ask, to those who dare, and even if you don't believe, just do it. The whole fake it till you make it thing. That's pretty much the only way you grow. And don't discount other little things. Like, okay, these are like the jobs that I've done in the past while trying to like hustle and just like achieve my dreams. This is when I was working for free, but learning so much at this TV station. But I was like I was like at a pizza place as a cashier. This is already when I'm like, full-time journalist. Like what other fancy stuff was I doing? Full-time journalist. I already graduated from university, from UCLA, a great college. So I was like delivering flowers as a cashier at this pizza place. I was working at the spa, like as like a little like receptionist person. And actually, like, I don't know if it's because my friends felt sorry for me or what, but I was helping them with their PR, but I ended up really boosting their business, So yeah, like those titles do not define you, So you want to go and look and see how you can bring value to people's lives, and how you can help them. And if you guys need any help with brainstorming, it's kind of something that I do. I've never like charged money for it per se, but just really like rebranding yourself, retooling kind of your CV, like the way that you're selling yourself. It can really just, like it could just really impact your chances. And so, don't give up on your dreams, go for your dreams. And I think this will be really a time for people to sort of reinvent themselves and, find something that can really change your life. Okay, so that's all for today. And if you're wanting a little bit of inspiration during these coming weeks, we're going to be starting to offer wine and organic, so it's going to be vegan wine and organic beer, and our delicious organic gluten-free and vegan chocolate protein cupcakes, and our banana bread. So I will deliver to you personally if you're within the Antibes Old Town area, and it will have to be arranged for pickup if you're kind of coming from the outer Antibes area. So stay tuned for that. And I'm getting a lot of requests for online cooking classes again. So please, if you're interested in those events, go ahead and message me. And yeah, it's gonna be an amazing time. So Graze itself is going through a reinvention, and yeah, it's just gonna be an exciting time. Okay, Great. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.